All right. Welcome back to the Salesforce Help Line. I'm your host, Matthew McConaughey. I'm joined by three agents, you might call them, in the field. Got some big news today. You might have been expecting something orange. Well, this is no joke. We're full in on the blue squad and the cloud. Mark Beanoff is our new supreme leader and dictator.
God.
I can't do it anymore. Welcome to the HubSpot helpline. We tried. Happy April Fools. We're wearing blue. It's not Halloween, unfortunately, but I'm joined by people who they like to joke around because they take themselves and their work and helping others so seriously, namely Miss Casey Hawkins and my left, Mr. Chris Carolyn, who doesn't have a middle name anymore, according to being banned from saying my joke about it, and the one, the only, the man who I like best is Cruz, George B. Thomas.
Hey.
George B. Thomas. Kyle is not with us today. I assume it is, yeah. I assume hopefully it's something to do with Joan of Arc and progressing that, but I'll just keep my fingers crossed and we'll get an update next week. How are we today?
Well, doing well, having fun.
Yeah, doing good.
You spared no expense, Chris. Even the blue name tag things. I mean, that's great. Usually they're orange.
Yeah, it's pretty uncomfortable.
I just need to make it through today. How much longer do we have? 40 minutes left? Okay, I'm in
42 minutes, George. But you don't have to be an Einstein to figure that out. Speaking of Einstein, no, okay, Chris laughed. We want to have some fun today, like we normally do, but we would be remiss not to turn it over first. Everybody's favorite recurring segment, if she's ready, not to put her on the spot, but to rebound very quickly from this aberration that would be us all wearing blue instead of orange. Chris is slowly getting back into the swing. My name tag is orange now. We're going to kick it to Casey for our update of the week.
Yes. Hello. That is this week I was reviewing our updates. We did shows Thursday, Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. It is officially spring spotlight season because yesterday on Tuesday you had 13 updates, and then when I was refreshing the page today looking for updates, they just kept coming. I would click to the next page and there just kept being more. So we have entered spring spotlight, everyone, but it's my segment, so I'm going to make the rules. And although there were some big segments this week, including auto capture website clicks, which is a big deal, and create calculation properties using Breeze, which is also super cool. And sure, other people might pick those, but because it's my segment, I'm going with, drumroll.
I got to get one of those, dang on it.
Thank you. Create associations between records based on existing association. And here's why. If you remember our very first helpline, one of the first calls we got was someone asking, can we associate company records based on contact associations? Like if a contact is associated with a company and also associated to a deal, can we automatically connect the company to the deal based on that existing relationship? And the answer was no, not natively. So I built a workaround, custom workflows, a workaround workflow, a whole messy thing. That workaround is still running for that client right now, but this update is the native solve for exactly that. You can now configure the create association workflow action to operate on records that are associated with the enrolled object. So from a ticket-based workflow, you can associate the ticket's contacts to deals using matching properties. No more workarounds, no more custom properties holding it together with tape. But now I have to undo all of those messy workflows that I got. It is available in all workflows where create association actions exist. You get targeting options like all associated records up to 100, most recently updated, most recently created, first created, or records with specific association labels. The label targeting is the one that I think people will sleep on. If you're using association labels, and you should be, this lets you get really specific about which related records get connected. So if you've ever built a workaround to connect records that should already be connected based on the relationship records, check this beta out. Any thoughts from the team?
Love it. Love it.
All right.
I'm going to out myself here a little bit. Can you reshare the screen really quick? Sorry. This example use case, I'm used to Rome being able to draw on the screen. Example use case here. Has this been a thing in every product update always, or is this new? Because I was going to ask to put George on the spot to give me 3 sentences or an example or two of how this would be how you could action this today, and like what are some use cases that people may have been having for a while now where it's like, man, I wish I could create associations to existing things. This is massively helpful. I just don't know if I've always overlooked example use cases or if that's new.
You haven't overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then shout out to who shall not be named because he's not here. Kyle, product team, start tagging people in. This is massively helpful as somebody that thinks and can strengthen associations better through examples and metaphors. This is long overdue in my mind, if it hasn't been.
Well, but let's add something to that. If we're going to start adding example use cases, can they not all be sales use cases, please, HubSpot? Okay, I'm done here.
Hey, we got tickets here. I agree. No, this was my favorite part of this update, Rob. The fact that it had a picture. I think a lot of people like this is the kind of stuff. If we can just start putting little snippets of this, like that's what's going to help the ecosystem get better at actually mapping, right? If you don't have to start from scratch, even if it's just a couple steps. But I was talking to Naz, the product manager of the associations team, yesterday. And I was always I was excited about this, and I know like a lot of people have been working around this, and I was like, man, you must have a lot of people were excited about this update, right? And I can throw shade at people when like the new update comes out, and they immediately ask like, oh, it'd be cool if it did this too, right? You know those people. She did that the other way. She's like, yeah, it's all right, but just wait until like the other side comes and you're going to be able to look at the other object that you're associating to and make decisions and do actions based on that. So it's really interesting to hear that. But yeah, this is a super powerful update, and we need like a community content play where we tell everybody or help everybody learn how to move away from all their workarounds to get to these updates. So I think that's going to be in the way of most people that are going to benefit from this.
It's hard though. Like, I mean, I think about myself. I spent hours building a workaround for this exact problem. It's going to take, my guess is it's going to take me an hour to set up this the right way, the new way. And Naz is saying there's also more updates to come with it. Like, so at what point do and my workaround's working for what I need. I just think it's really hard to figure out when the right time is to undo some of this tech debt.
Lucky we have George B. Thomas on the call for this next question. Is there so if that I was thinking exactly the same thing, Casey. I'm glad I deferred and let you ask that first or voice that first. You're definitely more than is this a case where you could take the use case example, although George wants it to be sales related, not ticket based. But you could take a string of updates and use Breeze to identify whether you should start looking for like the R&D precedes fixing the thing, right? You talked about the workarounds and they work right now and it'll take you an hour to fix or update or change that. that I don't think that maybe you meant this, but that doesn't count finding all the use cases that you could have where and evaluating them where that might be worth your time. Is that a use case for Breeze or an agent currently to where that part is done on your behalf?
Not the question I thought you were going to ask me, but my gut response is no, probably not. Because there's going to be so many things that Breeze is probably not going to understand that live on the human side of this. If it was purely platform, maybe. It's not, never is. There's going to be process and people context that only you or you and the people that you're serving. I'm saying you because you might be an individual that works in an org. I'm saying you and the people that you're serving because I'm talking about like you work in an agency or you're a consultant that live outside of that right now. At least my thoughts for right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was more where I was going. So I'm glad you identified. Not that it would make changes on your behalf, but just like, here's 10 places that this would actually apply. Now, whether you choose to say this is great, it would work, or based on your context, the people involved, you don't have to implement or change anything. This is not going through and making sweeping changes or updates on your behalf. It's just providing that initial R&D context for you to then evaluate and removing some of the administrative burden. But yeah, not the best question. Chris, you wanted to say something.
I think with Breeze, it's generally the challenge of like, how new is the thing in HubSpot? And how good is the ecosystem at doing that thing? Because a lot of the training data comes from customer usage of the platform and behavior, which again, like to George's point, like he's often better at like marketing and sales use cases than I think usually the reason that you need to associate additional objects to additional things and like add some complexity is usually you're using objects that are not the big four, right? And it's tough to get the help sometimes from Breeze on that, but it also feeds into the ecosystem's ability to use association labels properly. And that's what Naz and the team are really focused on right now, is that loop that we've had that is, because it's been so hard to manage associations, especially like when you just do it, are starting to do it for more than one object at a time, people have not learned how to do it. They've been using workarounds and other means instead. So that means that ecosystem doesn't have the muscles they need to understand how to use association labels properly. And then when it's hard, it's just kind of a cycle. So all the things that have been hard are getting significantly easier. And if somebody were to ask me, like, the point where you start to draw down the workaround, I think you can only see that clearly if you understand how valuable, like, getting better at association labels in general will be for your organization, because it activates so much of HubSpot that people probably are not even touching. I think the same can be said for AI. Like, when you start to build that foundation that you know is not going to fall back or go away, which workarounds, like we call it tech debt for a reason, very hard to like build on and not just create more debt. Like, how do we get to the point where the team is comfortable? Yes, I'm going to use this thing because the next update from the team is going to crush. And then the next update's going to crush. And now it's going to be easier for AI. And so I think that's the challenging part of, because it's that, or it's, man, I do this several times a week. So now a new customer or a new user is asking for this new association. I'll just spin up another workflow. Maybe I even clone the old workflow. And I know exactly the 5 clicks I need to make in my process to do it. But if I were to ask anybody else to do it, it would take hours, kind of deal.
I vote to remove workaround from the lexicon, just because I think maybe part of what you're trying to say is like, there needs to be some understanding of what it is you're working around and why.
Well, listen, use the word hack because that's what people have been doing, right? What Casey did is she created a HubSpot hacks, not to be confused with the YouTube channel. That's awesome, by the way. But just saying they've created these hacks, which tech debt hacks, right? Which, by the way, if I just reverse a little bit, Matthew, Rob, change your name. Anyway, Rob, if I back up a little bit, the question I thought you were going to ask me is like, how long do you let those hacks linger, or like how long? And my knee-jerk response was like, you remove them as soon as possible, because then you can get people back into the native usability of HubSpot. The other thing that I had time to think about on your original question, though, was like, there's also a layer of customization that Breeze will just never know. They'll not know why you customized this thing or created this additional logic or based it off of a team, or like, it'll just never have that context. It'll see every HubSpot Academy video and it'll know the latest updates as soon as somebody feeds them in. But you seem like there's this level of complexity from like the people in the process and the customization that I just don't know. And let's even say this too. It depends how robust the actual portal is with like what's going in there and how not dirty it is with the data that they have. Like there's just so much complexity to think that Breeze, and I don't say that in like Breeze isn't awesome, but that Breeze would be able to do the thing that you asked me the question about. Like, I don't see it. My take, just.
I think if I took this cowboy hat off and changed my shirt color, you'd be a little less spicy towards me today, but I appreciate
No, I like cowboy hats. I like cowboy hats. I grew up in Montana, brother.
You grew up in Montana?
Hats. Yeah, I've worn cowboy hats. I'm a certified riding instructor. There is no hate towards the cowboy hat. What y'all have done is you've made me cranky, George, because we're wearing effing blue. That's
I mean, I can't change right now, George, but rest assured that after this hour,
that'd be a show. All right, right now, everybody, just kidding.
No, this is we want to help people and we want them to tune in. Therefore, we will not do that. I'm going to kick it over to Chris there's some cool inbound 26 updates that I don't think I think they're public. I mean, this is on their site. But Chris, if you had a final thought, or Casey, you had a final thought about the update of the week, we can do that and then go to the way they're changing the inbound experience and the way we connect with exchanges. There's a little teaser.
Well, that's how Casey feels about that.
Oh,
she had too much
Casey
of the blue
says,
today.
I'm out.
That is.
She was so excited to share her screen. She hit the wrong button. Second time in the last half an hour. That's happened.
Easy to do. I did it before we started the show. StreamYard, get rid of the red button. Anyway.
Yeah, it's also an arrow in a square.
That is like, let me share my screen.
It's like a share button in every other. But yeah, I'd actually love to learn more. I hadn't clicked on the button to read about exchanges. The first thing that came to mind is they were calling it brain date before, and a specific vendor like owns that name. So if the contract changed, they can't use that name anymore.
I didn't want to go there. I knew you would, which is, it's what they paid the big bucks for. But yeah, I don't know if that's a separate thing that still exists and the focus is just on this, to your point, because that seemed very trademarked or like a proper noun for the type of connection. It seemed more external. Exchanges, there are now 3 ways. I believe last year and maybe for the last couple of years, there was the Spot, which was like cool, fun games. Like there was a place you could get your picture taken. It was a meetup. This is also aside from the like media lounge, like where podcasts and where that was being done last year. But now there are 3 ways to network and find your community at Inbound, not at Dreamforce, George. Don't worry. The Sync, role-based communities. So the Sync is where you can meet with people who do what you do. Marketer, sales leader, RevOps pro, customer success manager, founder. This is conversations that are intended to be what's working right now, what's changing, what you're testing next. The Sector. This one seems, Chris, right up your alley. This is industry-based communities. Is where you talk shop with people in your world, from SaaS and healthcare to finance, manufacturing, and beyond. It's built for industry-specific connection. This is, as an aside, a great idea. I love this, specifically after being in from sales and marketing to evangelism to whatever role. The key barrier or disconnect I've found in being able to like get people to emotionally resonate with what you're talking about is not speaking their specific language or having their use case, which would be the difference in healthcare versus manufacturing versus finance versus whatever. So that's awesome. And then back again is the Spot identity-based communities. So it's been a meaningful a part of Inbound for a long time. Space centered around identity-based communities that create room for dialogue beyond the day-to-day work. That foundation remains in 2026, but the experience expands. This is giving more ways to participate and interact, more opportunities for spontaneous exchange, and more room for community to take shape in real time. So I like this. This seems kind of like Brain Date times 3, and very, very intentional with the types of spaces they're facilitating. I think industry, or whatever they call that one, the sector maybe, is like the most needed and coolest idea.
And Rob, as the dictionary guy on the show, is that an alliteration when it's like the 3 S's, the sync, the spot, the like, what is that? Or they just decided to name them all with S's?
It's savvy, it's suave, it's smart.
Oh, yeah, okay, there you go.
Stylized. It's a lot of things. But I mean, it's a good job. I like that. It is kind of alliterative in nature. But yeah. So speaking of S's, she has an S in her name and she's back. Welcome back. Talking about the Inbound 26 update is the Spot / Brain. We're not sure about Brain Date, but it's expanding now to 3 different types. The Sync, which is like same role, same persona, founders, CSM people, sales, marketing can meet, exchange ideas, talk about their specific role or area of expertise. The Sector, which is on screen right now, people like Chris that love to talk shop, quite literally, whatever that might be, which I think is the coolest, like most needed intentional space. And then the Spot, which has been there for a while now. It's more identity, but it seemed more fun. It seemed more intentional with like I think they had Polaroids or something you could do last year. There were games. But yeah, the way that you can network and interact at Inbound 26 is being updated. By the way, PSA, if you haven't gotten tickets or thought about attending Inbound, you should do it right now. This is not a joke. You definitely should figure out how you're getting there, and more specifically than that, because I know there are different ways to attend. Hotels are important, and you should, if you haven't thought about that, even if you are planning on attending, you should figure out some sort of lodging accommodations as quick as possible, so you don't have to board in Southie or wherever it is and walk an hour or drive 20 minutes in an Uber on the day of the conference. Casey, your initial reaction to this update to the networking experience?
I think it's good. I didn't do Brain Dates this past year, but I know a lot of people really enjoyed them. My understanding, and maybe you guys know this better, is that these are a little less formal. Like, is it a little more kind of drop-in-ish? Or is it still kind of more... Brain Dates were more scheduled. And for the way I work, like the scheduled Brain Dates didn't work for me. So I like the idea of having something a little more kind of drop in and drop out.
Yeah, I think the way that, now that I've actually seen and consumed the page, I don't think we have that level of detail yet. Like the execution of these spaces, I think we're just highlighting that these spaces are going to exist. Right at the end, it says from meetups to a more dynamic experience. If you've attended Inbound before, you might be familiar with meetups. And meetups now live within all 3 exchanges, right? So basically every kind of networking thing that they've done in the past, they're trying to create a few different spots around the event.
Yeah, I like it. George said he was lobbying for a 4th space called The Sermon, where he practices his talk and gets people
Wow.
rallied and motivated and ready to go.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. I said that just 5 minutes from now.
Oh man, killing it today, Mr. McConaughey.
Yeah,
Makana doo-doo.
I can't tell you how much I love and respect George B. Thomas. Let the world know.
I love and respect you as well, my friend.
This man's one of my favorite.
Maybe just the cowboy hat. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of things that we want to spend more time on and move away from me to get to, we have a couple things. I don't think this pulled up the way I wanted it to, which is the Wayback Machine. I think that was an idea previously of like on this day in April Fool's Day 10 years ago. What did HubSpot look like? So I'm going to go do Wayback Machine right now while Casey, again, to put her on the spot, not just the spot, but the HubSpot, as a matter of fact, is going to tell us our quick win of the week.
Okay. So we are talking about Salesforce today. So I picked a quick win for us that is a common issue in Salesforce, actually. Yes. Clever, isn't it?
It is.
So in Salesforce, duplicate detection does exist, but to get it working, you have to set up matching rules, then create duplicate rules. On top of those, then you have to go into the Lightning App Builder, add potential duplicate component to your page layout, and then you have to know that the duplicate record set exists in the app launcher to actually see them in bulk. Most Salesforce admins don't get through all of those steps, as you may imagine. So that tends to be a big pain point for users inside of Salesforce. However, we're working in HubSpot, where duplicate management comes out of the box. There's not setup. It is inside of your account. I think this starts at professional plans. Someone can feel free to correct me if that's wrong.
For Data Hub?
For data quality. I think data quality is one of those
I think it's
professional
pro.
unlocks.
I think so. I don't think it's in starter.
Yeah.
Or if it is, it's very limited.
It's not in starter.
Okay, good.
But inside the data management, which is apparently a server image, but I've always explained it as a stack of coins in your menu, and then data quality, and then you can click manage duplicates, and then this just exists and is going to run. You can see you can add custom rules, you can add alerts, but regardless, without any setup, you already have duplicate watching, monitoring out of the box. And you can come in right here and just review or reject these records. I was really excited when this got an upgrade last year, where you can now choose which properties you want to save from the kind of sunset record versus the primary record that you'll be keeping. So very easy to manage right out of the gate and available with very little setup.
I love that you call it a stack of coins, by the way.
I thought that was...
I think that's
database amazing. Icon would work too.
I love that. Yeah.
Nothing brings you back down to earth like managing HubSpot and Salesforce together.
Oh God, yes. I have multiple clients that we do that.
We take so much for granted inside of the HubSpot ecosystem.
Yep.
Because Casey left out the fact that you got to do like a paid certification and maybe an MBA in data science on the way there. Maybe you have a team of people managing your Salesforce data infrastructure. It's a tough gig on that side.
Yeah. So I spent kind of a lot of time this morning, more time than I should have, debating what my quick win should be. So I'll tell you what my backup one was, one that I was kind of working towards and then kind of went sideways, which is deleting records in bulk. And I decided not to use that as the quick win because it's kind of a niche use case to be deleting records in bulk. Like most people aren't doing that. And I don't know if I exactly want to show everyone necessarily how to do that. But if you don't know, inside of Salesforce, that is limited to, you can only do 250 records at a time. I'm sure there's a data loader option, but you have to kind of download data loader. Data loader is not easy to use. It's not even really built into into Salesforce. So one time when I was a little baby marketer, I was working on a HubSpot Salesforce integration, and I messed up the sync list, and I created thousands of records in Salesforce. And I distinctly remember it being 8 p.m. and me sitting in this office alone, deleting 250 records at a time.
Yep. No bueno.
Yeah.
No bueno.
No good. No good at all.
So that's my Salesforce trauma for it.
By the way, Casey, this could have been the start of your next new download. As you were talking through that, I thought maybe somebody should create the offer 7 things disgruntled employees can use inside of HubSpot. No, that's maybe not.
Yeah, they don't come into HubSpot, George.
Delete all records.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What you got, Rob?
Yeah, speaking of disgruntled or old or I remember when, this can't be real. I've let it load for a while now, but speaking of what we take for granted, this is what on this day, April 1st, 2016, this is what HubSpot.com looked like. Still find that very difficult to believe. It was only 10 years ago, but pretty straightforward here. Stop interrupting, start connecting. You can learn more. They just came out with a State of Inbound 2015 report. So free plug here. Super just did a State of Sales Enablement, which is massively interesting. Some of the findings. So shout out to Super that I work for. And yeah, this is their website.
I feel like
this can't be right? I mean, like
it's missing some of like the CSS styling for it to be put in the way that it would be put in. However, that being said, the information you're looking at is correct. Like, but it wasn't styled this way. But trust me, it wasn't really that dope of a style before the CSS stuff was in it anyway back then, because I remember them days.
Yeah, I wonder if we could find the phrase "stop cold calling" anywhere on the current site. I'm gonna guess not.
Yeah, see what all
what
all has changed and what all remains the same. How strong is your website?
Hey, look, they were talking about loop marketing back in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, this is at least interesting, right? That this looks
loop
eerily similar.
And butts. Yeah. That's when I see that. I don't even know what's going on right there. It's I don't know what's happening. It's supposed to be hearts, but don't
That's
mind
how strong
me.
their website is infinity.
Yeah, it's infinity. Hey, and it's Salesforce Blue.
Yeah,
the website grader
content.
The website grader is like one of the best lead generators of all time.
Oh
Pretty
yeah,
sure.
Yeah,
like for any company.
That thing went nuts.
Yeah.
So that's our brand new segment called Way Back When. This is HubSpot.com without all of the stylings and cool stuff. But this is what it looked like 10 years ago on this date. This is I know what day it is. It's April 1st. This is not a joke. That is the Wayback Machine dot whatever it is. So you learned something today.
We learned something every day with you, Rob.
We sure did.
Great. I wanted to throw me off a little bit there. Casey, you said you had something else, and then we got into quick win. I don't know if that was what you were trying to get into, or if you had another talking point about something.
I did have another talking point about something. I had let's call it a second feature for the updates of the week. So I mentioned when I was running through the updates that have come out. Today, they just wouldn't stop coming out with updates while I was working on this. And I thought, because this was the Salesforce show day, one of the biggest complaints I hear from people moving from Salesforce to HubSpot is that campaigns don't work the way they do in Salesforce. So I just wanted to highlight 2 updates that came in. Both of these are dated today. Yeah. Where HubSpot's actively closing that gap. These 2 are multi-campaign reporting and the campaigns analyze tab. There's also been an update recently around adding context to campaigns
And custom objects.
Yeah, so there's some more flexibility on ways to do that as well. But also wanted to just highlight these. The campaign analyze tab is going to be very similar to, you have your email analyze tabs and your forms. It's just going to show here like a roundup of the performance for all your campaigns in a certain time period. So that's really a nice value add. Also just shows if you're filling out all those campaign details that I know I personally skip over sometimes, how valuable those can be. Things like spend versus budget is all included in here as well. Doesn't zoom well. And then the other one that's, I think, new today is multi-campaign reporting. So you can now report on multiple campaigns at once, viewing the influence, contacts, attribution, and asset data in aggregate, which is a very nice way of grouping and kind of seeing the overall campaign influence.
Yeah, and again, we're missing some major update tags on these things.
Yeah,
these are huge. And I think not only is the campaign object like a real object now, because that was a big part of that other association to custom objects thing. It's like, oh, by the way, we can associate with custom objects, and you can use campaigns in all of these places like custom report builder, like all the usual stuff. Asking for a friend. If you were working with a Salesforce integration where most of the business is run out of Salesforce, and there is high interest in matching up sales campaigns over in Salesforce with marketing campaigns over in HubSpot, what is your go-to? Maybe from before, and is there any changes now that we can do this level of campaign management in HubSpot?
Take it away, George.
So my brain, so you broke my brain a little bit because, one, sales is not doing marketing campaigns, but they probably are doing some type of sales stuff, which you have Salesforce campaigns. And again, there's a lot of like, holy crap, I don't know, in many of the organizations. So, but at the end of the day, like, as you're asking this question, my brain went to, well, does the person that you're asking for know about Salesforce campaigns in the workflows tool, and being able to use that to like associate and understand? But I don't. That I know of,
a very clear example.
That I know of. I'll finish real quick, and then you can give the example. That I know of, there's no way to map what we can do in HubSpot under the marketing studio, aka campaigns, 1-to-1 with like what's happening in Salesforce from a campaign standpoint, other than like we have properties and stuff. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, because there's definitely a design or architecture effort required to match these things up. And that's always been one of the reasons the word campaign is one of my least favorite words in the marketing lexicon. But the most common example that comes to mind for me is you have a sales team. And again, like if the business is run out of sales or run out of Salesforce, sales teams working there, that drives decision-making like for the rest of the business very often. and we've got a trade show coming up. Let's say we're going to inbound. And marketing is managing the event management of going to inbound, being at inbound, managing the ROI and how do we do and leads. But often there's two things that are happening hand in hand with that. If you're doing a good job of showing up at events with your whole team and maximizing your ROI, is you have a leads list of some sort that comes out of the event that gets imported into Salesforce as a Salesforce campaign, because now the sales team owns any and all follow-up related to that list.
Yeah,
And
this is where that
sometimes-
campaign ID comes in workflows, but okay.
Right. And sometimes that list is created before the event because we're trying to set up meetings, right, before the event. And all of that is often tasked to marketing as far as reporting on those things while doing a different kind of campaign on the marketing side from HubSpot, right? And so it's always been interesting to like talk through the word campaign as it relates to both of these teams and both of these systems, but also know that you have to you need to find a way to bring them together. And now the reporting capabilities of HubSpot and being able to associate with all of the stuff, you don't have to rely on Salesforce as much as you might have in the past to put some pretty awesome reporting together.
I'm not sure if this answers your question, but I think based on how you explained it, how I would set it up is I would create a segment in HubSpot of all contacts associated with that HubSpot marketing campaign, and then use this segment as the enrollment criteria to set their Salesforce campaign.
And that's a wrap because we're out of time. Join us next week. No, I'm just kidding. That's Rob's job.
Yeah, I think I know what we can get into next time. And it's a further highlight and shout out to really the entire HubSpot community, product team, C-suite people. But even broaching this subject, I know is going to possibly be triggering. And it's also something I think I would love everyone on this call, plus Kyle's input in. The bottom line up front, the bluff, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, is that I've seen a ton of people specifically say, me and the product team, or one dude spent this weekend vibe coding our own CRM because our HubSpot renewal came due. And shout out, I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of comments, of engagement, of not only like snarky, satirical things, specifically for me, guilty, hand raise, but Brandon Kirsch, I'll call him out. He's a sales leader at HubSpot. Has been specifically asking, like, how did we fail? What can we do better? We don't want to lose the next one of whatever your use case is. But the question to me becomes almost like a will it blend? Like, will it vibe code? Two of the most proficient and involved and in-depth people with AI that I am aware exists, Nico's not on this call, but he's another one, are still in the HubSpot ecosystem, predominantly advocating for HubSpot. Lovable uses HubSpot. So it's like, where is the XY axis on should you attempt to vibe code something? And I have some ideas. I've actually vibe coded a should you vibe code it calculator, but just wanted input on that. Like, what are the downstream impacts? Because it seems like there are a ton of hidden costs, and there are things that should be considered for AI or an LLM to just build a quick solution, and things that are much more advanced that people are opting for speed over downstream impact.
And that's a tease for next week, right?
Yes.
Because there's no way in 0 seconds.
I prefaced that with this is for next week.
Okay, because holy crap, that's a
Nico
question.
and I spent about 2 hours on that on Sunday, and I created a nice page to talk about a decision
-1
framework
minute.
around that.
George, I said it's a teaser, and I said somebody's going to get triggered, and both happened. But we'll end with this. Is that a question people should be thinking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, happy April Fools. We've had an all right show. For the rest of us here at the Salesforce Never Going to Be Helpline, here's the most helpful thing I can tell you about Salesforce. Just shred the credit card that is used to renew your contract, and you'll be better off later. But for all of us at the HubSpot Helpline, we wish you a happy April Fool's Day, and we'll.
It's Rob, it's George, it's Casey, Kyle, and Chris. Admin calling, then tune in. You can't miss this. Every Wednesday at 10. Streaming straight from LinkedIn. Helping with HubSpot. Building community is our philosophy, and we're so proud to be. Helping you with HubSpot. Orange, you so glad